In my opinion, Bertrand Russell's analysis of the Roman Empire's relationship with culture highlights an important distinction between practical governance and intellectual innovation. While the Romans were undeniably pragmatic and focused on the practical aspect of ruling an empire, this led to a culture that, though heavily influenced by Greek philosophy, was less fertile in original philosophical touch. The Romans excelled in adapting and applying existing philosophical ideas, particularly Stoicism, to their own needs, especially in terms of ethics and governance. What stands out is how Russell underscores the role of the Romans in preserving and transmitting Greek thought. Even if they did not contribute extensively to the development of new philosophical systems. This view underscores the value of cultural synthesis and adaptation. While innovation might be less prominent, the Roman Empire's ability to integrate and preserve Greek ideas allowed these philosophical traditions to survive, paving the way for later intellectual movements in Europe. In this sense, the Roman Empire's contribution to culture was crucial, albeit in a more supportive and preservative role rather than one of original philosophical creation. Russell's emphasis on the Roman Empire's role as a culture transmitter is especially important though the Romans were not as innovative in philosophy as the Greeks. They played a vital role in preserving and disseminating Greek philosophical traditions through figures like Cicero, Seneca, and Marcus. Roman thinkers incorporated Greek ideas into their ethical frameworks, making them more accessible and applicable in the context of empire building and governance. This act of intellectual preservation ensured that Greek philosophy, particularly Stoicism, continued to influence later Western thought, even as the empire itself began to decline. What I find particularly insightful is how Russell highlights that Roman culture, while not as intellectually pioneering as Greek culture, contributed greatly by integrating Greek ideas into their practical lives. This synthesis of Greek philosophy with Roman practicality meant that the wisdom of the ancient Greeks would not be lost. In this sense, the Romans were crucial in ensuring the survival and transmission of Greek philosophical thought, which would later influence the Renaissance and other periods of intellectual revival in Europe. While the Roman while the Roman Empire's contribution to philosophy may not have been groundbreaking, its role in preserving and transmitting cultural and intellectual tradition was invaluable for the development of Western civilization. In my opinion, Bertrand Russell's analysis of the Roman Empire relationship with culture offers a nuanced and insightful perspective on the empire's impact on Western philosophy. The Roman Empire, with its immense size and practical focus on governance, military power, and legal systems, was less inclined toward philosophical exploration and innovation compared to the intellectual vibrancy of the Greek city-states. However, this pragmatic approach didn't necessarily stifle cultural development. Instead, it shaped a distinct type of intellectual life that was more concerned with the practical application of ideas rather than the theoretical exploration of abstract concepts. Russell highlights that although Romans did not create many new philosophical systems, they were crucial in preserving and adapting Greek philosophy, particularly Stoicism, to their own societal and ethical needs. This is particularly evident in the works of prominent Roman thinkers such as Cicero, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, who took Greek philosophical ideas and integrated them with Roman values such as deity, virtue, and self-discipline. The fact that these ideas were applied in the practical spheres of governance and personal conduct reflects the Romans' pragmatic attitude toward philosophy. In this way, philosophy became a tool for managing both the individual's life and the stability of the empire. Rather than a field of inquiry aimed at uncovering metaphysical truths, What is particularly striking in Russell's account is his, rather than a field of inquiry aimed at uncovering metaphysical truths. What is particularly striking in Russell's account is his suggestion that the Romans did not just preserve Greek philosophy, but transformed it to fit their own context. They made Greek philosophy more accessible and practical, turning it into a useful guide for governance, personal ethics, and the maintenance of social order. By doing so, they played an essential role in transmitting Greek thought to future generations, and particularly during periods when direct Greek influence was diminished. This preservation of philosophical tradition was crucial in ensuring that the intellectual foundation of Greek philosophy survived, eventually influencing later intellectual movements such as the Renaissance and the Enlightenment. Russell's view also raises an important point about the nature of intellectual contribution in a vast empire like Rome. While innovation may have been limited, the Romans were remarkably effective at synthesizing, adapting, and spreading philosophical ideas in ways that were highly influential. The Roman Empire, in many ways, served as a bridge between Greek philosophical thought and later Western intellectual traditions. Although the Romans were not as focused on philosophical originality as the Greeks, their cultural legacy lies in their ability to integrate philosophy into practical life and ensure its transmission through the centuries. This, in my view, speaks to the enduring value of synthesis and adaptation in intellectual history, showing that preservation and transformation of ideas can be just as impactful as original innovation. Through this process, Roman culture became a critical vehicle for the survival and continued relevance of Greek philosophical ideas, allowing them to shape the intellectual landscape of the future. Thank you.